welcome back to my channel. My name's Cheyenne and I bring you new tutorials that you can do on and off the pole in studio or at home. So today I am going to be bringing you my cartwheel kips. Now if you've been following me on Instagram for a while, I've posted these a couple years ago, but today I'm going to teach you how to actually do those. So there's going to be 4 different cartwheel kips that we will do. 2 from down low, 2 from standing. One is a normal cartwheel and the other is a round-off version. So there is different variations of this, so you can do it at a level that works for you. But before we get started, we need to go over the basics for your cartwheel. You want to make sure that you have a super strong base so that when you go into the full cartwheel and kip, that it's nice and strong. You don't want to try to progress too quickly if your base isn't strong. So I'm going to get straight into the cartwheels and learning how to do those first. When we learn these, I recommend doing it with no shoes on. When you do the kips, you will have shoes on because it will protect your feet, because we land in that kip position with the legs and knees tucked under. So to start off with, if you are familiar with cartwheels, feel free to just, skip this whole section and go to the part where I actually teach you the tricks themselves. But if you aren't familiar with cartwheels, I'm going to take you through some explanations of how to get into it now. So to start off with, again, if you haven't done cartwheels in a while or you don't know how to do them, we're going to start off really low, then we're going to progress with each one. Again, make sure your base, so your cartwheels, are nice and strong before you progress to the next level of the trick. So to start off with, you can cartwheel either side, whether that's right or left. I do recommend trying both to see what feels better for you. For me, I do train both, but today I'm going to be doing a left hand first cartwheel. I am right hand dominant, but for me personally, I prefer my left side cartwheel. So coming in with that left hand down first, dominant hand landing second. So if you're following along, then again, I'm using left hand down first. So to start off with, we're going to start off with mini cartwheels, and that's just to get ourselves comfortable with the up and over movement. So to go into your cartwheel, you're going to get your left hand. If you're doing right, again, just swap it over. You're going to get your left hand. Your left hand will then place down onto the ground next to your foot. But as you do that, you want to rotate the hand so that the fingertips go to the back and the front of your hand comes to the front, so front facing. When I place the hand down, my fingertips are splayed to help with additional stability up through the arm instead of closed. So open up nice and wide. Now, when I go into it, the left hand comes down, and I'm going to come down nice and low, and we will progress with each one. My left hand comes down onto the ground, and what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to get my right hand and it is going to come across. Now, when I place the hand across, you want your hands to be roughly shoulder width apart, not too wide and not too close together. Shoulder width means that the elbows, I'm pointing at my wrist, elbows and shoulders are going to be nice and stacked, so nice and stable. So left hand goes down. When I go to place my right hand down, I am going to push off my inside leg, so that left leg, to kick up and over with the right leg. So as I place down, my left leg, whilst in this low position, is my power leg. And I'm going to do a baby cartwheel. So hand will come down. As I go to push off through my left leg, so the leg closest to that hand that is on the ground, I'm going to kick up and over with my right leg. So inside leg, so my left leg is my power leg, my right leg will lead the cartwheel. So my right hand comes down, I'm going to push off, 1, 2, and land. You may land down low, you may land standing. Again, I'm just going off from the very beginner version of our cartwheels. Now, once you have that and you understand the little hop over, What you want to start doing is making them a little bigger each time you do it. So with this one, I'm going to come up a little higher. You don't need to stay in this squat too long because it will start to hurt your quads, but I'm going to come up a little higher. And what I'm going to focus on this time is extending the legs so that they're a little bit longer and pushing a little bit more through the arms. So this is just to help get us, again, comfortable with that up and over movement if you haven't done cartwheels in a while or you're not familiar with them. So as I place down, this time I'm going to push through the arms a little bit more to get them straight because that is the end goal. And then I'm going to extend the legs a little bit longer because the end goal is to have them completely straight and our body in a one-line position instead of curled and curved over. So I step down, I'm going to come up a little bit. Same hand placement, hand in hand, push off with that inside leg. Outside leg will also push off, but it is the lead leg in your cartwheel. So come up a little higher, and we're going to now extend ourselves a little bit more. So 1, 2. Again, I'm still quite closed off, but this is where our progression comes in. Now, once you're more comfortable with that, you can go from a standing position. Each time you do it, progress in a way that works for you, that you're comfortable with, but you just want to progress with each time you do it so you get more comfortable. So for your standing position, same thing, hand is going to go down, but there's a little less drive. We still push off both legs, but now we don't have the power through this leg to kick up and over. You may find it a little bit easier. Now what's going to happen from here, I'm going to transfer the weight onto that left leg. My left hand will go down, right hand comes over, but as I do that, the right leg starts to kick up. Now, because we're now in our upright position, we want to lock out the arms, keep the torso as neutral as possible, so not crunching over, and try to get the legs as straight as possible. Again, do it in a way that works for you. So if you need to take it back a bit because your legs aren't ready to go straight yet, that's totally fine. But once you get there, this is what you want it to look like. So left hand down, I'm going to put weight onto that left leg, push off. As the right hand goes down, the right leg will start to lift. So nice and slow, I come in, 1, 2, right? So one more time, left hand down, right hand over. As the right hand goes over, the right leg will follow. So 1 and 2, okay? So now that we have done that, we're going to work on the round-off version. So I do teach you those 4 kips like I mentioned, and I need to go over now the round-off version where we slightly change our hand position. So with your cartwheel, our body faces the front. So my body doesn't change from this position, but with the round-off, we are going to be landing in this position. So this is the trick that's a little bit more dynamic. It is just as easy, but can be a little bit scary. So we're gonna start off without our heels again, and we're gonna go into it. So for your round-off, when we went into the cartwheel, we had our hands in this position. So they go side by side, shoulder width apart. Now what you're going to do this time is actually rotate that outside hand, so my right hand, and you're going to create an L with your hand. This is going to assist with the rotation through your body to land facing this way. So as we rotate, we face this way. So as I go down, you can do this from down low again, follow that same sequence, but as I go down, my left hand is going to come down as it normally would, but my right hand is going to come across and more in an L position. It doesn't need to be a perfect L. Work in a way that works for you, like I keep saying, because it's your body and you know your limits. It may be slightly off, so you may create more of a triangle, but the goal is to try and rotate into this L position. So taking it nice and slow, that left hand's going to come down, and as I bring the right hand over, the legs and body do the same thing, but I'm switching that position. Now what will happen when I go into that cartwheel, instead of landing with my body facing this way, like I said, we turn. So you're going to need to really push through your right arm, so push off the arm to go into it. I'll do the cartwheel version with the rotation, then I'll show you the round off. So hand down, my hand will go over, and I'm facing this way. That's just from that right rotation. But when we do the kip, we're actually going to hit our heels together, then drop straight down to our knees. So that means instead of doing a cartwheel over, we are going to cartwheel legs together and then drop, okay? So for this one, instead of leg, we will do the same start, so leg over, but they meet in a kind of handstand position. So taking that nice and slow, down, up, and off. So as you saw, the legs kind of meet a little bit closer together to create that drama. We don't need to hit our feet together just yet because we don't have our heels on, but once they're on, you'll probably feel a little bit more confident to add in that dynamic heel clack in the middle. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do this with our heels on. Now, once your heels are on, for me personally, I prefer boots just for extra ankle stability, but these can be done in sandals as well. Just be careful. And like I was saying, once you have your heels on, try go from a little bit lower again, just to get used to the extra height. Personally, I found it much easier to go straight from the upright position, but it can be a bit scary because you've added on those 6, 7, or 8 inches to your height. So make sure you also have your knee pads on. So just putting my heels and knee pads on. For me, I'm using, again, the Tatiana active knee pads because when I land on my knees, I don't feel a thing because they absorb the impact. Highly recommend these if you do dynamic kipping movements where you're landing heavy on those knees. Now, like I said, if you feel like you want to practice your cartwheels again, you can do so from down low, but I'm going to show you how to do them where we're going to land on our knees. So we'll do it down low and up high. Again, if you're confident with your cartwheels, you can feel free to go straight into the standing one, so skip this part. Now, because we are going to be landing straight onto our knees, what you're going to do is exactly the same thing as what we did without shoes. But instead of your feet landing, you're going to tuck your knees and feet under you. But you want to make sure that when you tuck, so if I'm in a standing position, when you tuck, that you're not tucking all the way up here or in this position. You want your tuck to be knee bent and the heel slightly down low. The reason for that is because the front of your heels will take the impact before your knees do. If you tuck in this position with a foot to bum, knee down, or even tucked, but again that knee is more down, the knee can take the impact and it's not going to be very fun. So when we go into tuck, into that little kip position, keep the legs slightly down to take the load through the front of your heels. So it'll be just this front section here. So starting down low, we're going to do the same thing. It is going to be a little bit harder because we have added that heel height onto our own height. So for here, we're going into that cartwheel position. So hand, driving off that left leg, so same thing, but instead we're going to come over with the knees under. So starting off with a baby one, 1, 2, land, okay? Now, let's take it a little bit higher. Whilst you're down low, try to extend through the arms and legs a little bit more, and then we land on our knees. And you can see with this one how we're landing with the chest facing forward. So 1, 2, and down. So keep practicing those until you're confident with it, and then we're going to come into our standing position. So when you're ready, we can start these, which I'm going to start now anyway, so you can pause if you want to. So for your cartwheel kip, exactly what we've just done from that standing position, but now we're going to tuck the knees under, and remember, try get your legs and feet out a little bit more instead of a complete tuck, so that your heels and boots take the weight first. So, same position, it might be a little bit more scary, but really focus on extending through the arms, nice and locked out, extending through the torso and getting those legs nice and long. Hand will come down, so 1, 2. So with the Tatiana Active knee pads, they do add some slide, which is great for floor work, so I'm yeeting over that way. But you might not slide as much depending on the knee pad you have. So let's do that one more time. It's going to be your up and over before we go into the round off. So, normal cartwheel, over, 1, 2, okay? And if you heard, the heels took the load of my impact. Now, we're going to go into the round off version. So for the round off version, again, really focus on twisting that right arm to come over into this L position, and that's going to help twist your torso. Once you're in this pencil position, so as you cartwheel, you want to stop your right leg as it's over so that the left leg follows and you come up into that pencil position before dropping. Now, usually we are going kind of like a little half rainbow over, so 1, 1, but now we're going 1, stop, 2, drop down, okay? So, taking you through that, left hand's going to go down, right hand goes over. As I cartwheel, I'm going to clack my heels together, push off through the hands, and land on my knees with my chest facing this way. So 1, 2, okay? And you can see heels clack together and I'm facing this way. So let's do that one more time, then you can practice on your own. So same thing, hand, hand, clack, and drop. Hand, hand, and down. So those ones are the big cartwheel kips that you can do. You can add it to performances or you can teach it in classes. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through the other versions, which is just the down low version. So you may find these easier. So even if you don't have your standing cartwheel, you can still work on these ones if it's going to be a little bit easier for you. So same thing, but we're in that squat position. So hand and hand. Now, big cartwheel through this one, really focus on pushing through the legs for this one. Because we're not already in a standing position, we do need to put more power through the legs to push off, extend our body upright to come into a straight arm position and extend the legs. The concept is the same. We're going to the cartwheel first, then the round off version. So for your cartwheel, hand, hand, push through the legs a little bit more, focus on a big open V, so 1 V over, and then you'll land on those knees. So 1 and down, okay? So it is a little bit more drive through the legs, so some people do find this a little bit more challenging, but it's going to depend where you're comfortable, what you're comfortable doing. So for the round off version, exact same thing. Rotate through that hand a little bit more, even if it's not a perfect L. Sometimes I am here, sometimes I'm here. It's just a little more rotation and push off through that arm. So, same thing, clack at the top, drop to the knees, but really drive through the legs to get the big cartwheel. So 1, 2, okay? So, those are your 4 cartwheel kip tutorials. Hope you enjoyed them.